it's Yitmarak and I am back with another video. Today I'm going to be doing a reading wrap-up of some books that I've read recently, the ones that you saw in the thumbnail. If you're interested in listening to me talk about one or two of the books, then make sure you check out that description box down below. I'm going to have timestamps for everything. Don't worry, I got you. Other than that, let's get started, because I'm gonna talk a lot. The first book I want to talk about is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I almost messed that up. I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. Needless to say, I loved it. I love it, actually, present tense. I follow the character of Evelyn, who is a Cuban bisexual Hollywood actress from the 50s. The book goes back and forth between the past and the present. In the present time, Evelyn is an 80-year-old woman who has finally decided to tell her truth about her so-called glamorous, gossip-written life. She has chosen to talk to this journalist named Monique, and we follow her perspective. And then the rest of the time we follow Evelyn's perspective as she tells the story of her life from the very beginning. I was about 24 pages in when I decided, or I told myself in my head, that I was gonna give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. Because sometimes you just know. As soon as Evelyn was introduced, I was so in love. She's one of the most incredibly powerful and confident and complex and extremely empowering characters that I have ever read. I find her to be both fascinating and completely intimidating. She is willing to do the dirty work to get what she wants and for the people that she loves. Her life is crazy. So crazy. She goes through so much. And this book is so well written that I kept forgetting that she isn't real. Reflects the world so well, and it tackles many different subjects. One of the biggest themes, I would say, is the erasure of identity. Not only sexual identity, as Evelyn has to hide herself and live a secret life in order to keep herself safe, but she also talks about whitewashing herself, changing the way she looks, changing her name in order to fit into this image that is seen as preferred. And now the book is separated into 7 sections for every husband that Evelyn has. But the reality is that she spends most of her life in love with a woman. So we do get to see that relationship on page, and it was absolutely beautiful. I love them. I honestly just really love the relationships that we see in this book. Not only the romantic ones, but we get to see Evelyn and her best friend, the journalist Monique. We get to see her and her relationship with her mother, and I really love that. I'm a sucker for seeing like different relationship dynamics and stuff like that. Like I said, it does tackle some serious stuff like domestic violence, alcoholism, suicide. Obviously, sexuality is a huge part of the book. I was so emotional by the end of this novel. I became so attached to these characters, and I love them. I love seeing Evelyn's story. I felt so inspired by her. After I finished it, I could not stop thinking about it. I still can't stop thinking about it. I already want to reread it. If you're thinking about picking this up, this is pretty popular, so I feel like a lot of people have already read it. But if you haven't, I definitely suggest that you do. It is incredible. It deserves all of the hype. Beep, 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 beep. Next, I have Sadie by Courtney. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and I listened to it on audio because everyone was talking about it. I saw this book everywhere, so I decided to give it a chance, and I was not disappointed. This book follows the character of Wes McCrae, who is this radio personality. He's hosting a podcast called The Girls, where he is investigating the murder of 13-year-old Maddie and the disappearance of her older sister, Sadie. But it is mostly focused on Sadie. He's trying to figure out where she went, why she left, and what happened. This book switches back and forth between McCrae, as he is hosting the podcast, and Sadie. We find out that she is on the hunt for her little sister's murderer. So as you can see, this book is very dark. I loved listening to this on audio. There's a full cast, there's also sound effects, and it made the experience so great. I think it is the best way to consume this book. It took it to a whole other level. There was something about, instead of reading but hearing the grief and the pain of these characters, that made it so much more real. It was so hard to distance myself from the story because I was listening to it, and also because the topic that it covers, the murder and disappearance and huge content warning for sexual assault of young girls, young boys, or just people. It's so hard to create distance because it's real. It happens in the world. Other than the darker side of things, something that I really enjoyed and something that I loved about this book was we get to see this incredibly strong bond and sisterly love, because Sadie loves her little sister so much. She is her whole world. It made everything so much more heartbreaking and so much more sad, but also it's a beautiful aspect of the book. So I think that as long as you're able to handle the content, definitely check this book out. I really, really loved it. Next, I have A Gathering of Shadows by Schwab. This is the second book in her Shades of Magic trilogy. I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I've been reading a lot of good books. So when I read the first book, A Darker Shade of Magic, I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. One of my personal problems was that I wasn't really connecting with the characters, and that is a really important part for me. I need to feel emotionally connected to the characters in order for me to care. Now, when I think about the plot of A Gathering of Shadows, I will say that it's very slow, not a lot happens. The main plot is that there's going to be this magic tournament. I would say that this is a character-driven book, but I love that about it. It's focused on the internal struggles of the characters. The struggles and the tensions, it feels like all of the characters are, well, most of the characters are to their breaking point. I got to know them so much more. There was a lot of character development. We were introduced to some new characters, and I just loved following Cal and Lila and the rest of the characters that I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil anything. I feel so much more connected to them this time around, and that's why I enjoyed this book so much more. I definitely thought that it was going to be, I guess, more exciting, that there was going to be more fighting scenes, and although we do get that, I felt like the tournament took so long to happen. I will say that I think that the tournament was a great opportunity for some extra world building, because we have characters coming from like different countries and different cultures, and we get to like get descriptions of their clothing and their hair and their makeup and their jewelry, and I personally like that. And then while all of this is happening, we have like our villainous antagonist character planning in the background something really dark. Also, the reunion, Cal and Lila's reunion. Oh my god. It was everything I wanted. I wait for it. It was torture waiting. And when it happens, I was so happy. I love them so much. But yeah. I think that A Gathering of Shadows has made me feel like the Shades of Magic is like one of my favorites now. Next, I have City of Ghosts by Schwab. We continue the Schwab readings. I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and nothing. I have nothing. We follow the character of Cass, who has the ability to see ghosts. She can cross the veil, aka she can be in the human world, and she can also go into the world where ghosts are chilling and whatever. So in the book, she and her parents travel to Scotland because her parents are going to be hosting a TV show about ghosts, and then things go crazy. I read this during October, and I've said this a couple of times, but perfect book for October, and especially perfect for somebody like me who I cannot handle scary things. I say I can, but I can't. This was perfect because it was spooky, but it didn't terrify me. I also really loved the setting, the fact that we are in Edinburgh. There's this really cool historical aspect to it. With Cass, we're visiting all of these historical sites that are filled with ghosts. Did I mention this? I don't think I mentioned this, but Cass has a best friend who is a ghost. His name is Jacob. I loved their friendship. It was so cute. This book is pretty short. It's pretty fast-paced, but I really like that. I felt like I could sit down, read it, relax. Nothing that was gonna break my mind trying to figure out what was gonna happen like every fantasy that I read. So I'm really looking forward to the next installment. I think that will be it for this video. I will be doing another reading wrap-up because I do have a couple more books that I need to talk about, and I'm going to be reading more books by the end of December. So watch out for that. I didn't want to make this video like forever long, so I just talked about a couple of the books that I've read recently. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up if you're interested in talking to me and being my friend. You may do so down below. I have all of my social media. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye!